Hello, I'm presenting my findings on our customer base for our Zomato company. Just kind of gonna take a look at our customers, the demographics, their spending habits, and stuff of that nature. And for this, I use the user table, and I left joined it to the orders table as well. So we just kind of take a look at the users and kind of the different demographics and like the amounts that their sales amounts and stuff of that nature, just to kind of get a clearer picture as to who's buying, how much they're buying, how we might be able to improve some of our workings. Just to get started, kind of taking a look at the just for also just make sure I'm going to use the sales amount as opposed to the sales quantity. It gives us a better, clear picture as to where our sales currently stand. This first the view is kind of just taking a look at the marital status and the total sales for different marital status. It seems that those who are single spends exponentially more than everybody else, than either the ones who prefer not to say, as well as the married folks. So the single people spend more than married people, and that's the first thing we can see from that. And then the next graph we're taking a look at, I look at the averages of the same thing, and with the averages, the numbers kind of like become very similar. It seems like on average, married people and single people and people who prefer not to say spend about the same. With married people, a little bit more than single people in this view. But the total, as we've seen before, is single people in total, but on average. So for the most part, I'm gonna take a look at the total since the average is kind of like give her like doesn't give us a clear enough or as the best view possible. Next one, you're gonna take a look at the genders, and it seems like males spend a little bit more than females, which is makes sense. Men probably order out more. Women tend to cook a little bit more, so that makes sense. In terms of the sales by people's income, it seems like those with no income spend by exponentially more than everybody else. Um, that might be due to several factors, including people with income buying more groceries, whatever the case may be. But we can see that people with no income spend a lot more, or no, people the number one people who buy from us and people with little or a lot of income. Next, we'll take a look at by education status. It seems that people who are both graduate and postgraduate spend exponentially more than people who are maybe have a high school diploma or just completely uneducated. So the postgrad and graduate students look like they're the bulk of our customer base. Um, in terms of occupation as well, people students, as we saw before, in terms of like post grad and graduate students as well, just students in general, but post grad and grad students, as we see from this other graph, this kind of backs it up as well. It shows that students spend more than anybody else, and then it comes with W-2 employees, 1099 employees, whatever the case may be. But employees are the second to be spent, and then self-employed being third, and housewives look like they don't spend at all that much at all, which it makes sense because they're housewives and kind of like part of their job as a housewife is to cook and stuff like that. So they probably cook a lot more than a student might, given like their studies and stuff like that. So this also makes sense in terms of that too. And checking the look at the average sales from different month to month. And I use the average for this one simply because I just want to kind of see like over a month how much it makes sense as opposed to like looking to between the average changes throughout the whole year in different months. Just kind of take a look at that. It looks to me like it was the best idea to when looking at the month over month. And as we can see from month over month right now, the fact that it's pretty much it goes up or down a little bit, but for the most part, it dips at its lowest. May, June ish. But for the most part, October-ish. But for the most part, like they it doesn't go too high or too low. There's pretty much about $1,000 difference on average from the lowest month to the highest month. So it doesn't really change all that much in terms of the order dates and stuff like that. So that's not too big of a deal. In terms of age, as we can see, from 18 to like 21-year-olds, they don't spend too much, but it takes a steep increase at 22, 23, 24, and 25 and stuff like that. Those are our biggest numbers in terms of our spending, which would make sense since we looked at the graph before for our post grads and our graduate students, which are who are about those ages as well. So it would make sense that those are the ages that spend the absolute most, since those are our students and post grad and graduate students, which as we see from the previous graphs, that they are the ones who are spending the absolute most. And kind of look once want to quick look at that, the total sales by like family size as well, which kind of backs it up, right? People who have two or three people in their household tends to order a lot more. So so we could see that as well. Like people who have a couple people, they probably order two, three different meals and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so I was kind of looking at that. It was very interesting to see that people who family sizes are one are like are so low, given that how frequently or how much single people was living. But it could be like I mentioned before, the fact that they're students and stuff like that. They might have roommates and other different factors that might play a role in what this family size might look like. But I just wanted to kind of quickly take a look at that. But it kind of backs up in the fact that married people probably on average spending a little bit more on average, simply because there's more mouths to feed and stuff like that. Just kind of taking a look at the this dashboard as well. Just kind of give you a view of all the different things we just kind of talked about and how they stack next to each other. So those are kind of view in terms of that. As we can see, single people that are student age, post grads, graduate students, student age from 22 to 25 are the bulk of our customer demographic and stuff like that. So they're the ones we get the most money from. So I would say that's kind of my conclusion in terms of like who our customers look like, and what their spending habits are. Some of my recommendations might include like to get new like provide discounts for new students who haven't bought from us before, provide discounts for them. Show a student ID, they're able to give them discounts, stuff like that. That might increase the amount of students we get, since they're the number one people who buy from us anyway. So why not kind of like tailor our approach towards them by giving new discount to new students as well as existing students as well, to kind of like make sure we keep those customers as well. So I would say like new and existing students can provide some discounts here and there for different occasions, stuff like that, in order to continue having their customer. I would say offer memberships to customers and point systems to encourage more spending from people who buy from us only occasionally. If you have a point system, then they can accumulate more points. They'll be more encouraged to buy more by accumulating those points and kind of getting rewards like maybe a free meal, whatever the case may be. Those things could vary, but to encourage kind of like the students or just people in general, our customers in general, to spend more, buy more, and buy more frequently by by giving a point system for the memberships of our customer base. I would say also well, the last thing I'll probably recommend is including personalized campaigns for like married individuals, like maybe market towards them, stuff like that, so they can spend more, as well as people with higher incomes, stuff like that. Some of the different people who who's spending less, personalize some campaigns towards them. Like I mentioned before, married individuals would be one, as well as people people who different occupations, stuff like that, whether W-2 employees or self-employed people. Maybe found towards something towards them as well. Just people who are spending a little less with us. Market some campaigns towards them, so we could kind of get a little bit more from them as well. But not to forget the people who buying from us, our customers that are repeat customers, to make sure we retain them as well. But just some personalized campaigns for like married individuals, people who buy less, self-employed people, different kinds of things like that, would encourage them to buy more from us from our different marketing. So that's my conclusion as to who our customers look like, and what their spending habits are, and stuff of that nature, the demographics. Um, as well as some of my recommendations as to how we can increase sales and maintain and retain employ customers that we currently have that are already spending a lot, reward them and stuff like that to maintain them, as well as what be some things we could do to get new different demographics that we're not doing too well with. Just some marketing campaigns towards them should definitely help. Thank you.